Hi everybody. I decided that I'd do a video talking about my new deck, SlySquids motherfucking deck, version 1.0. I've got in a good 7 games with this deck. It's only lost once, and that was because I played kind of an aggressive game against a Whalen deck, and I account siphoned first turn, and I should have drawn instead of running again. So I got punished and lost turn 2. I'm going to go through a couple of the choices on here. I'm not going to focus too much on the cards that I think everybody grasps why they're in the deck. I'm going to glaze over those a little bit, but I'm going to talk about the ones that people might see as kind of janky choices or maybe not so efficient. So we got 2 account siphons in the deck. Account siphons are to put early pressure on and to gain economy. They're less of a control card as they are just a really good economy card. They work really well with Eater. Obviously the ability to account siphon recursion is huge, and it does come into play, but I find that the wanton destructions is way more powerful, and I try to set up for those as often as possible. Yeah, I try to use those specifically as economy cards. The amped ups, originally I was going to take them out because I wasn't sure how I was going to handle the brain damage. They were a good, kind of a fun idea to put in the deck. And then you wonderful people on NetRunnerDB and the Facebook page, all the Black Hat fans, have suggested to put in Box E. That was a great choice, and it lends itself really well to amped up. It lets me do those really, really good efficient turns where I can, do, what is it, like, I did, I can't even remember how many keyhole runs. I think I did 7 keyhole runs with this deck against Trent's Nisi deck. Yeah, the card is really good, and it does what it's supposed to do really well. Day Job is my economy card. Arguably it could be something else, but I think Day Job is the best way to come back from closed accounts. A lot of people say that closed accounts could be something that really shuts this deck down, but I feel like the fact that Day Job doesn't need a lot of credits to get back from, I can get back in the game really quick. Deck doesn't need a whole lot of money to run. If you could pull off that account siphon, if you spend your last 5 credits to account siphon, the Eater gets through things really, really easy. Dirty Laundry is my next card. Flawless card. Promotes running. It works really well with my quest completeds and the Eaters and all that jazz. Yeah, Dirty Laundry is just an amazing card. There's 3 of those. The Deja Vus are super tutors because in 5 turns you'll have 10 cards in your archives and probably want at least a few of those. The card is amazing. It's always been one of my favorite Anarch cards. Just for the whole, I could get back 2 viruses, but the ability to get back like any card that you want is really overpowered, and it's way better than Same Old Thing, like on a level of efficiency, and it lets you do plays that you don't necessarily think of, like if I want to make keyhole runs, but I want to let them know that I'm going to pressure HQ. Then on my last click I'll use Deja Vu to pull back a wanton destruction, and kind of go, okay, well now you have to make a choice. What do you want to do? Sometimes it equals them putting out cards that they don't necessarily want to put out in a position that I can deal with other cards. Next would be the Levy AR Lab access. That card is pretty much a no-brainer. I think all max decks need it. After my first 4 games, I really was questioning whether or not I'd need it, but after today, playing a lot of Genteki matches, and maybe it's just me walking slower, and because I'm kind of a Genteki guy, and I know the potential there. So I was going a little slower than normal, but I really ended up needing the Levy AR. I think in both games I played against Trent, I used it. I didn't use it against Glitch's Tenon, but it was definitely there if the game went any longer than it did. I have 2 quests completed. The quest completed is a card that people aren't necessarily grasping onto. It's an underplayed card. So the reason why I like this card is because you could basically do everything you want to do with the deck. That would be like a keyhole run, an account siphon, and then, you know, dirty laundry archives or retrieval run through archives, and get all the goodness that the deck wants to give you. But then you can also access cards in a remote that you wouldn't necessarily be able to access with Eater. Through my Breaker suite, I don't like to put the Femmes and the Knights out early. I like to just rely and face check with the Eater, because I feel like the Knights help me access cards when I really need to access them. Specific kind of changes might tweak when you playing against Chrysium Grids or Caprice Nices. The Knights become entries into those servers to get you access to those cards and get them out of the way. Next would be Singularity. Singularity is a monster. So there are a few meta calls that I'm making, and I'm standing 100% behind Singularity because Shell Corporation and Cerebral Overrider is a thing. I do it in my Nisi deck. Actually, today or last night rather, I had a Cerebral Overrider with 3 tokens on it, and I had 2 Shell Corps going at the same time. 2. It was ludicrous. I was making insane amounts of money, more money than I needed, but I wanted to pressure him into running it. It also opens up plays with Nisi where first turn I Mishu no Sinned out a Future Perfect and started to advance behind it, but because that play makes it look really, really like you're doing an Overrider, you can kind of just ride the money out until the end and then score 3 points for the game. Singularity is a monster. Other cards that make Singularity really, really pop are Self-Destruct. Self-Destruct is a huge problem. I think it's going to come up. Self-Destructs on Cerebral Overriders or Traps is going to be really huge. Self-Destructs that are sitting in giant servers that are ready, like after you pay through all the stuff, and before you access the agenda, they're just like, fuck it, I'm going to blow the server up. That's a legit thing that is going to be bad. So Singularity fixes that. Like it's huge. Another thing that I'm worried about is that 9-for-6 agenda with Wayland. I feel like a good play for them would be holding punitive counterstrikes, fast tracking for it, and then just starting to advance it and just going, okay, well, you either have to take this or you lose. And there's a couple people that say that, oh, well, all you need to do is score another agenda and then take it, and it's like, well, that might not be easy because the agenda density is going to be lower than anything we've ever seen before. I mean, if you can have a deck that has what, 6, like almost 6 agendas, like that's insane. So I think that deck's going to be a serious threat when it comes out, especially in Argus Security, because they're going to be running more agendas. So I think to kind of balance an offsuit, I think they're going to be using that 9-for-3 really, really well. We get to Steel Skin. Steel Skin is a monster. I didn't get to use it so much against Glitch the first time we played, but I definitely got to use the hell out of it this time. I was playing against, I played against 3 Gen Techie decks, and 2 of which were trying to kill me. Glitch played Tomas's, like a version of Tomas's Tenon deck, and it doesn't pressure any kills, so I was just holding it in there, holding it in my hand just in case I needed it. I don't ever feel the need that I need to, like, that I really need to play it. You get so many cards so fast and not just the cards you get in your hand, but the cards you get in your archives are just accessible all the time. And Steel Skin is a beast. I actually ran, I wanted new cards and I didn't want to play the Steel Skins and I wanted access, so I ran through a single pup, forcing him to get rid of my Steel Skins, and it just, it gave me 6 cards, and the rest of the game was easy to pull after that. 3 Sure Gambles, pretty basic. 2 Wanton Destructions. I've gone on and on about Wanton Destruction. I think Wanton Destruction is the tits. It's like the best card in the game, almost. I mean, Steel Skin is probably the best card in the game right now, but Wanton Destruction is the most aggressive thing you can do to a corp. It's so hard to come back from, especially if I'm account siphoning you and I'm draining your economy really early with Eater, because Eater is like the perfect face checker. It's like, keep me out, or like res your ice, or I'm getting accesses. Eater just lets you blindly run anywhere, and between Eater and the account siphons, it really makes the economy and the score windows hard to come by. So the Wanton Destructions are amazing when you can Joshua B or Amped Up to do to blow a hand 4 or 5 out of the water. Next is Box E. We talked about that. My original deck I thought had memory issues, and I kind of crowdsourced out for a new console. Box E was suggested to me, and it's phenomenal. I got it out twice, and I sat at 7 cards in my hand until I was ready to make big plays with my amped ups, and yeah, it really did its job. Next would be Hades Shard. I have a single Hades Shard. I'm not sold on it right now. There's never been a scenario where I need it. I feel like when you look at this deck, you think it's going to be just keyhole, 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 but it's not. It comes off like more of a fluent, trying to just, as soon as the runner kind of starts clawing back up in one server, you want to drop it down. Keyhole isn't always the best way to go. So I'm not sure if Hades Shard is going to stay in. We'll see. I think I'll keep it in for now. That, and I don't really know what to do with the extra influence. Next would be Joshua B. I have 3 of those. Joshua B is kind of my toss-up card right now. In talks with other people, they say that prepaid voice pad might be good. I do agree with that. Joshua B is an amazing card in a deck like this because there are almost no resources, so you don't really care if they're trashing the tags. You have so many cards that prevent the Scorch win, like your keyholing out Scorchers, your Wanton Destructioning Court Scorched Earths. I would say that 3 times fast. And you're account siphoning them, so the ability to C-source you is just almost out of the question. Well, I guess they won't even need a C-source. Blah, blah, blah. It's been a long night. Same old things for the same old reason why everybody uses them. There's a lot of events. There's 29 events. I mill a shit ton of cards, and same old thing is pretty necessary. My Breaker Suite consists of 3 Eaters. Eater is obscenely powerful. You pay 2 more than a Corroder, and it just goes through everything. It's like an MVP. This deck completely is pillared around it. Like most of my decks, I gravitate towards one card and kind of build around it. Again, I thought that this deck was going to be, good and competitive, but I had no idea what I was actually gonna stumble on when I played it. Eater is legit. I can see it splashed in almost every faction, and it's gonna do some serious shake-up when it comes out. Next, I have a single Femme Fatale, and I have 3 Knights. I'll talk about those together, because what I was worried about was 3 ice that I was worried about were Lotus Field, Wraparound, and Swordsman. So Swordsman can be very huge, so I need an A or a Sentry Breaker. I originally had Mimic in here, but because we got the influence kind of reduced from Boxy, I was able to put in the Femme, Fem's always been one of my favorite piece of ice, and in conjunction with the retrieval run, it just does so much work in this deck. It gets you those accesses in the remotes when people are feeling ballsy that you can't get through with the Eater, and yeah, it's insane. And it also does a great job of breaking sentries, because you're on average sitting between $20 and $36 with this deck. Knights are my wraparound and Lotus Field kind of counter, but they also add to the overall aggression of the deck, being able to account Siphon and Wanton Destruction cards out of the hand really early, adds to the overall pressure of the deck, and it definitely fucks over any of those combos like the Chrysium Grid. It's not even really a combo. Chrysium Grid and Caprice Nisi. So Knight's probably one of my favorite changes from my my stash deck, and I got a lot of plays out of it. Next would be, well, lastly, it would be 2 keyholes. The keyholes are obviously really, they work really well with Eater, and they let me put a lot of pressure on R&D. Arguably more pressure than the account siphons and the wanton destructions, but it's nice to be able to flip back and forth like whenever I need to. There's a lot of 2 copies of cards in this deck, because I want it to be more like a toolboxy kind of deck, where you're not getting flooded with the same cards, but you have the ability to access almost all of the cards whenever you want. It feels at the beginning like you're playing a criminal deck, because the aggression, you come out of the gate like a madman, and you're going here, you're here, you're draining all their money, you're running without a rig, and you're doing all this jazz, and you're adding so much aggression. And then once it switches to mid game, because there's so many cards in your heap, you get this shaper feel, like, oh, okay, well, now I can retrieval run this to get rid of that, and access cards here to manipulate. It ends up being so fluent, and you have a lot of tools in your toolbox to just pull out at any point in time. Again, I'm not one that kind of sits back and says, and tries to boast their play, because I'm not by any means a top tier player. I play mostly for fun, and I build mostly theme decks, but I think I stumbled across something that I didn't expect when I was building it. I threw in a lot of cards that I thought would work good, but they end up being far better than I expected. I know my friends are quickly hating the deck, because it's just crushing victories. It's like there's no, you're just scraping to not be controlled the whole time. There's no progression, there's no advancements, there's no anything like that. It's got an answer to everything. And it's even got a couple answers, like I said, to things that I feel are going to be huge. Yeah, again, everybody, the motherfucking deck's here, and it's badass. I hope you guys like it, and I'd like for you to, like and subscribe if you like the deck, and do all that jazz that cool people do. Yeah, and go on the Netrunner DB and give it a like, or go to our Black Hats page and give us a like, and yeah, hope to see you guys soon. Again, I get my camera on Tuesday, so I'm going to start recording games. It's going to be fun. That's my kitchen. That's my dog. Bye.